Hello and welcome to the 7th edition of Kindred presents the Economic Times Global Business Summit co-powered by Capgemini. In the second episode, we bring to you highlights of conversations from various eminent speakers and leaders sharing their views on edtech, content and the future business landscape. Here are the highlights.
The last 2 years, I think perhaps in our lifetime, have been probably the most unpredictable because of the pandemic. So if you can help us understand the pandemic, how did it shape the destiny of the edtech industry? Because in a lot of sense, because people were staying at home and could not go into the conventional, traditional sort of education houses. But do you think that that is sustainable and that will be here to stay, or that once the world returns back to normalcy, you will sort of find the momentum sort of diminishing a bit?
I'd say it this way. Firstly, the reason EdTech came about is not because it was an anticipation of everyone staying at home or COVID. The very fact that technology being harnessed in most countries, developed and developing countries, some where they're more job ready. In some countries, the challenge is affordability. In some countries, the problem is accessibility. So EdTech is here to resolve, solve, contribute into this entire sector, which otherwise has been relegated only in offline. So I think COVID was a good circuit breaker, a speed breaker, because two things happened. It self-evangelized online learning, because now suddenly corporates, from CEOs to HR heads, to university heads, to faculty heads, all those ecosystems started accepting the fact that digital and online is here to stay. Having said that, the setback, I think, to some extent is that the assumption of everybody now seems to be that EdTech is education with a Zoom or any other technology that you use, and it's a plain live lecture, but it's just so not. And lastly, all I would say is there are two segments: the entire K-12 sector, the schooling, and then everything above K-12, which is higher education. The K-12 sector, I think, has got a lot more tailwind during COVID because children are at home, parents were feeling guilt and FOMO, and therefore that sector actually built much more. The higher education had its mixed bag because also job instability and insecurity came about. So I think it's been a good balance, but overall, phenomenal evangelist and a great understanding and acceptability in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. Always a delight. And a
no, thank you, Deepak. Thanks to the Bennett Coleman Group to really spotlight EdTech as a sector in your Global Business Summit. Appreciate it.
Up next, we caught up with the president of Kindred India, Lingaraju Saukar, along with the president of Microsoft India, Anant Maheshwari. Let's take a look.
So, Lingu, the workplace is also changing. The way it has changed in the last 24 months or so. Emergence of the hybrid model and the advanced digital technologies. For Kindred's business in India, what has this opportunity meant and the way you could make an impact?
I think, Ashu, if you were to look at it, right, the changing concept of the workplace, especially in the last 2 years, I would say that digital acceleration that's happened in the last 2 years and what's going to happen in the next few years is far more than what happened in the last 100 years of industrial revolution. So and that time was very less for us. So given that as a theme of moving forward, there's digital driving every part of it. And let me just pick one specific nuances of where we see this change coming in. Previously, it was tech built for outside India being brought inside here. Tech is getting built for India because India gives you a couple of very great opportunities. One is the complexity, scale, and also the constraints under which you develop and build stuff here. So stuff that you build and manage out here can really get replicated to the rest of the globe. So lots of companies, Kindred included, we are developing first of a kind technologies, working with partnerships and building solutions here. And when I talk of complications and things, take an example of milk delivery, right? I don't think many countries have the concept of milk delivering every day at 6 a.m. at your house, at your doorstep, right? Doesn't happen. Most go and buy from supermarket, but here the technology that goes behind it, like some of our customers like Mother Dairy or Amul, there's a lot of tech work that goes behind to ensure milk gets delivered day in and day out at that time at the booth, and then the analysis that goes behind it on the product mix and so on. So that's a simple tech example. Having said that, with telecom industry's revolution, where it's really brought down the cost of data, and then with the strong cloud capabilities like what Microsoft and others bring to the table, has really empowered and given scale to the ideas that really come out of the world. So in a way, I think combination of tech I mean, combination of telecom, combination of cloud, and combination of the market itself has really spurned a lot of innovation, and that's giving great opportunities for organizations to really go ahead. Again, when you look at it from a perspective of industries, right? Wave one of industry transformation was like when you look at telecom, it was about telecom getting the customer acquisition model and so on. But now it's about network clouds, so that you're able to now customize your capabilities to customers. With automotive sector, it was getting SAP going, but now it's about connected cars and the services around connected cars and digital across. Likewise for banking, from core banking to now it's about digital banking, online alternates, analytics, all of that. So that shift of thing has really happened to us in the last 10 years, whereas it took a long time for other countries to catch up with. So I think it's a very exciting time in India for the workplace, given the pace, speed, and rate of transformation as an opportunity that lies for all of us ahead.
Okay, let's take the next question. Anand, that need for sustainable business is knocking at our doors. How should that be woven into the agenda for businesses so that companies never lose sight of the larger goal, the community that they serve?
So, sustainability is really an existential challenge for the planet and maybe amongst the biggest in all of our lifetimes. It's really addressing a problem of this scale. It will really need very strong collaboration between different stakeholders, not just governments and businesses, but also civil society, really coming together to do everything possible. I think in the next few years, digital capability building around sustainability will be as critical and omnipresent as we spoke about security in everything that we do. So it's really that critical for all of us. Customers, investors, legislators, and employees are increasingly asking organizations for stronger commitments and greater accountability on their carbon reduction efforts. So we are really bringing together capabilities across our cloud and creating an entirely new business process to help every organization address this need. The Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability is designed to help accelerate each stage of their sustainable journey and understand their carbon emissions, set sustainability goals, and take measurable action. Our own, Microsoft's own sustainability strategy focuses on 4 areas: carbon, water, waste, and the ecosystems.
Linku, another issue about, or another question about the partnerships that are driving the innovation practice for Kindred in India. Can you share some details about the scale at which it's happening and the focus areas for you?
There's a Microsoft Kindle University that's being set up for skilling and upskilling. There's a global center of excellence being set up on cloud. A significant part of it is in India, because we believe that a lot of innovation that happens out of India on a first of a kind basis can get scaled up. So this is how we look at the partnership landscape, and very specifically all around the practices that we have built across and taking it together. Ashok.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks for taking out the time for this conversation.
Welcome back. Next up, we have Ashwin Yardley, CEO India, Capgemini.
During pandemic, we saw that every business, every industry was severely impacted. We saw this as a big opportunity to help our customers transform their business. And we launched what we call as 3R approach: respond, restore, and relaunch for a better future. To enable all of this, we have been investing in new generation technologies like quantum, metaverse, while continuing to expand on cloud, digital, AI, ML, and data. So with advent of digital, it really brings in both opportunities and challenge. If you look at just education, through digitization, it has really enabled taking education to the remotest of villages. The many other services and benefits which digital can actually take to the remotest of corners of India. But with it also come the challenges. And one of the biggest challenge is how do we build and take the infrastructure to these places. And this is where collectively as a society, as telecom companies, and as large organizations, we need to enable that we can take this infrastructure, the assets, the tools back to these remote villages, tier 2, tier 3 towns of India. What I'm very happy to share that through our digital academies, we did almost 57 of them across 12 cities. We have trained more than 1,70,000 youth across India in various digital technologies, so they can work in new generation jobs and roles. One of the interesting component of that program was something what we called as Sakhi Drishtikon, where we trained women from tier 2 and tier 3 towns in skills like cloud, in skills like cyber security. And not only did we train them, but we are very happy that most of them could join us and then aspire to get the future they want. So I think what's happened during last 2 years has radically changed how we do business, how we do our work, and many other things. Digital cloud data and embedded software or 5G is getting into almost every part of our business. Today, software is extremely key ingredient of almost every product and every service that we consume. The other very important element to that is we see every company really harnessing the power of data. They're doing a lot of AI, they're doing a lot of analytics, helping them build new products, build new services, and really re-engineer and reimagine their supply chains. The second very important shift which we've seen is, and which continues to evolve, is what is the nature of work and what is the future of work. Hybrid models are here to stay, and we will see people working in offices, while there will be a huge workforce that will continue to work from home and in between. And lastly, one of the most important trends which is getting significant awareness is investments in sustainability. Every company is looking at how do they make their business more sustainable, bringing more renewable, and also embrace circular economy. Very happy to share that at Capgemini, we are committed to be carbon neutral for our own scope by 2025, and including our supply chain by 2030. And we also commit to being net carbon zero before 2050. Again, these are some of the shifts which we see today, which will continue to evolve over the next several years. And there is an opportunity for all of us to build on these initiatives. So businesses will start seeing 2 or 3 fundamental shifts. First and foremost, they need to look at embracing technology to bringing new products, new services, and improving their customer service. The second important thing which businesses need to start looking at to stay relevant is how do they look at their talent. They need to embrace new models of future of work. They need to look at how they attract, retain talent. And lastly, no company will survive if they don't innovate in bringing in new products, in how they do business. And it can be in multiple realms of their business spectrum. You know, what can be innovated now, what can be done for tomorrow, which we call as new, and then what could be next for long term. So again, the businesses will have to create a culture, create a agility in their business so they can innovate faster, build a talent, and have boldness within their system to encourage innovation. These are some of the things which businesses need to do to stay relevant. And lastly and most importantly, every business needs to have a strategy around sustainability and climate. That's one of the most important things, how customers will start looking at products they buy, services they buy.
Up next, we are in conversation with the Managing Director, India, Head of Data, Partnership and Innovation, APAC, GFK, Nikhil Mathur. Let's listen in.
Data is a new oil, and this is true in case of organizations who are using it as a fuel for growth and expansion. As I see it today, data analytics will become the core to organizations' decision-making process. This would mean that organizations will focus on using analytics and AI for scaling the process as well as for CX. In my view, with evolving business ecosystem, there'll be more emphasis on data analytics in value engineering and CX. The speed of competition is really picking up. And in order to win in the market, you got to keep up with what's changing in consumer sentiments and channel dynamics. Therefore, we are endorsing a very bold change and a higher tempo of decision making supported by digitization. In 2017, GFK started its transformation journey, and we had a vision of a single platform with a full spectrum of solutions that deliver the signals from the noise. And what we created an AI-powered intelligence platform, what we call it today as GFK Neuron. This AI-powered platform actually delivers market, brand, and consumer intelligence all together with predictive recommendations to give you an edge over the competition. Altogether, the platform is extremely simple with an easy user interface, which an entire company can use to solve their business problem in real time. I think this is how we are helping brands and organizations to navigate through the changing business landscapes. I personally believe trust in AI-powered intelligence promises to unlock opportunity and fuel the growth of organization. And I want to reinforce the fact that the world doesn't stand still, it is changing fast. And you need to keep up by understanding your consumers' ever-changing needs. We at GFK help businesses to move at a faster pace with a knowledge at speed.
Welcome back. Up next, we have Shantanu Narayan, Chairman and CEO Adobe, talking about shaping the digital revolution.
So I thought we could start out by asking, by having you tell us really how difficult was it to navigate the company through a disruptive event like the pandemic?
It really started for us at Adobe in terms of our employees and our customers.
Sure.
And I think like most companies, we said, let's make sure that we put our employees first and foremost. And what can we do to serve our customers well? And we did a number of things on both those fronts. And similar on the customer side. So what we did on the customer side was we said, listen, a number of our customers are going to go through cash flow situations. Educational institutions, for example, are going to be completely virtual. So what can Adobe do to make sure that we continue to serve them, that our products, which are mission critical, whether it's to governments or to an individual user, that we continue to allow them access to these products during that? Because, Adobe has always taken a long-term perspective of how we do business. And so I think those were the first two things that we said, let's make sure that we put our employees and our customers first.
What really is Adobe doing to retain market share, to retain leadership position itself, perhaps?
Well, when we talk about driving the next decade of growth, I think Adobe has been really well known for pioneering, creating market categories. I mean, we created desktop publishing with Apple and Canon. Desktop publishing as we know it today wouldn't exist. We created even things like gaming or video on the web. Yes, it will probably attract other companies who look at it and say, wow, Adobe's created this opportunity. Why don't I participate? I would say, though, that the companies that you talk about are frankly more partners. When you think about Apple or you think about Microsoft, they deliver incredible platforms, whether Microsoft, what they've done with Azure or what they've done with Windows, and Apple, what they've done with iOS. And getting our applications to really sing and dance on their platforms is something that we really partner with. We're the first company that, really partnered with Microsoft on Azure as well. So I would say Apple and Microsoft, there may be some small areas of overlap, But in the grand scheme of things, we're actually significant partners. I think to your larger question, when there is competition, the way I always talk about it in the company is you got to innovate. If you focus on your customers and you look around the corner, the rest will take care of yourself. And we are not a fast follower, we're an innovator. And that's really how I think we will continue to thrive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to probably meeting you in person at the next ET event. Thanks very much, Shantanu.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Next up, we have Ivan Spiegel, CEO and co-founder of Snap Inc., talking content to commerce.
You mentioned India in your earnings call last quarter, and you said that the expansion efforts in India actually continue to prove to be successful, and you were using your learnings to inform how you approach community growth in new geographies. Tell us a little about what these learnings are, and also how you're using them in different markets.
Well, it's just been so fun to get to know the Indian people, the Indian culture. I remember, we a long time ago, we introduced a new product called Our Stories, which for the first time combined together snaps created by all sorts of different people into one cohesive story. And I'll never forget seeing our story of Diwali and all of these lanterns floating up into the air from, tons of different perspectives all around India. And it really excited me, about the opportunity to grow in India, because the culture itself and really the vibrance of the people really lends itself to visual communication. It's hard to capture that feeling and that emotion of watching all those lanterns soar into the sky in words, right? It's almost unimaginable. And what's been so exciting to see is the way that Snapchat has been able to capture just the visual richness of India and really empower a new way of communicating between people. So that's been something that we were really excited about. And then, of course, we built a local team, and we work to create locally relevant content and AR experiences. I think one of the things I've been most excited about is the way we've worked with colleges and high schools to help teach people how to build AR experiences themselves. And so now there are all sorts of lens creators across India building amazing AR experiences. But it's been a long journey for us, and just so exciting to see the way the product has been used to transform the way people communicate visually. For us, India has been just a really great place to learn about how to grow our business by creating locally relevant experiences.
Give us an update, in terms of how a lot of these brands, you spoke about Zomato, Flipkart, a bunch of others, how are they using augmented reality? Can you give us an update on that front?
Yeah, it's such a great question. It's something we're really excited about. And in particular, one of our big focuses has been augmented reality shopping, because AR is a really exciting way to see if you like a product. In the past, when you were just using the desktop internet, you had to look at little pictures even of people, wearing clothes and things like that to see if it was a good fit or see if it was something you wanted to buy. Now with augmented reality, you can try on that clothing yourself without even having to change your outfit, right? Just using your phone, you can visualize how something looks. And of course, what we see is that leads to much higher conversion rates. So now what we're trying to do is scale those AR shopping efforts, because what we find is that many brands either don't have 3D assets, or it can be very expensive to create and manage 3D assets. So a lot of the work that we're doing right now is to make that easier, help brands develop these 3D assets in a seamless way, and then convert those into augmented reality try-on experiences. So we're really excited to expand AR shopping with Flipkart, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Would it be restricted to partnerships, Evan, or are you looking at some sort of investment, strategic play as well in India?
We've certainly made strategic investments in the past, and we may do so again in the future. We're always trying to learn more. There's so much incredible innovation and entrepreneurship happening in India, so we always feel like we have a lot to learn. We really love building those partnerships, and that's usually a way for us to get to know people and see if there's a bigger strategic opportunity in the future.
Great. Evan, thanks a lot for taking our time today. Hope to see you soon in India in person.
Thanks so much. See you soon.
We caught up with Glenn Fogel, President and CEO of Booking Holdings. Let's listen in.
It's definitely been a difficult time for the travel industry over the last few years. We'd all hoped that we were going to return to normal after the initial outbreak of COVID. And then there came the Delta variant. And then we felt things were getting better. And then Omicron came on. And now we're feeling, okay, Omicron's gone away. We're just beginning to think, okay, things are going to get better, travel will come back. And now we have this terrible, terrible situation that's going on in the Ukraine with the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. So many problems for travel. But here's the interesting thing to me is that people will always want to travel. That demand for travel is always going to be there. When things are safe, when government restrictions are lifted, people begin to book right away. I feel it immediately. I see it in our numbers. So yes, it's been terrible, terrible problem. And yes, we have to continue to monitor and make sure we can do what we can to make things better everywhere.